Good morning, everybody, and welcome to my subject talk on performing and production arts. Welcome. I've started promptly, and I will hope to finish promptly too. This presentation will be available as a recording after the event as well. So if you want to review anything that I say, or anything occurs to you and you want to revisit, you can find this via the Wiltshire College website or YouTube page, I'm sure. Anyway, let me continue. So we're talking today about UAL's Performing and Production Arts course. We've been running this specification for the last 3 years, and this course has been run in partnership with Wiltshire Creative for the last 8 years. If you're not aware, Wiltshire Creative is the combined multi-arts organisation that's based in Salisbury, combining the Salisbury Playhouse, the Salisbury Arts Centre and the Salisbury International Festival. This is still largely very unique in the country. There are a few courses cropping up that are closely affiliated to professional working venues, but we were certainly amongst the first 8 years ago when we started. This unique positioning also gives the students really valuable insight into the performing and production arts. So my name is Tom Sherman, as it says on the screen. I've been working as a program leader for the last 7 years, and I'm an employee of Wiltshire Creative, but I obviously work very closely with Wiltshire College and University Centre in delivering this course. And they are a valuable partner in what we provide, with wonderful resources at the site in Salisbury, which is going over a major revamp at the moment. We also have a lovely large performing arts studio there where we put on shows. They have an excellent learning resource centre or library where we can access books and computers. At the moment, it's a very different time, obviously. So that's when this country opens up again for the world, it'll all get back to normal and we'll be able to access it as we usually will. Anyway, let me carry on. I'm waffling. So let's move on to the next slide as I take you through the course itself. So at Salisbury, we run 3 levels of course, depending on where you're at in your learning journey. We have a level 1 in music, performing and production arts. This is a 1-year course. We also do a level 2, which is equivalent to a GCSE, and the level 3, which is A-level equivalent diploma and extended diploma. That is a 2-year course. Now, although these are all separate courses, the students themselves work largely collaboratively. Many of the aspects of the course are practical, and in those practical sessions, academic ability is not as important. In fact, there's many aspects of this course where the students muddle in together, especially in performance. There will be separate theory classes and academic classes, but in terms of rehearsals and performances, it is a very, very practical course and inclusive and accessible. We have an excellent LSDS learning support department who support us in our teaching and learning as well. So we're quite a diverse and accessible group. There is a partner course at Trowbridge, which is also based in a lovely local community venue, the Arc Theatre. So if you're interested in performing arts and you live a little bit closer that way, they're a little bit more musical theatre based as well. So if you are keener on dance and singing, then perhaps you might wish to also take a look and see what they're offering over there. So we'll move on. So the content of the course, you'll develop the following skills: acting methodologies. So we'll be looking at a variety of different practitioners which are associated with different styles of performance, whether that's physical theatre or classical theatre, realism, naturalism. We explore movement. We don't do dance per se, but we do movement sessions, which combines a bit of jazz dance, elements of ballet and tap. These are very basic introductory sessions, I would say, because they're largely mostly the contingent that we have keen on straight acting. But that isn't to say that we don't appreciate that dance and movement are crucial skills in students' development. We look at devised performance and especially voice production. We run daily warm-ups which incorporate limbering up our body and voice and our imaginations through game playing. This is a performing and production arts course, so the students also get to explore production elements, including stage management, lighting, sound. They get to understand the use of light, color in lighting, and how to set up a sound system and source sound effects. Again, this is just a broad introduction. Being placed as we are, as I said, in the Salisbury Playhouse and Salisbury Arts Centre, the students actually get to work in those environments and use the equipment, the professional standard equipment that's currently about today. Students will also work their analytical skills in script analysis and doing research for context and for character development. And we use a broad range of digital software to help us in our learning. Some students use Weebly websites to record all their material and research. We record a lot of sessions, especially the practical ones, for rehearsals, and that's great evidence for all the students. And that's why using a website again is quite useful for evidencing, collating that evidence together when it does come to be assessed. However, there are no exams on this course. I will come on to explain that, how you're assessed a little bit later. Where might these courses take you? So these courses can progress you into employment or higher education, or applying for a foundation or honours degree in a variety of subjects. So there are some very good university degrees in performing and production arts out there, such as at Bath Spa and UWE and Chichester, Winchester and Derby, as listed below, where we've had students go off and continue into higher education. There, you could go on and become an actor or use it in drama therapy. We have students, current student who's very interested in exploring that as a career path. Or you could try your hand at directing or creative writing, or if you're more interested in production, again, you could go off and do event management. So a variety of different career paths there. I mean, some people think that it's quite a narrow choice when you come into the performing arts, but there are so many different styles of performance. There are so many different platforms upon which to perform, as we're discovering in the current time as well. We've had a number of students go off to drama schools as well. Production arts students have gone off to LAMDA and LIPA and GSA, that's Liverpool Institute of Performing Arts and Guildford School of Acting. We've also had acting students go off to East 15 and Rose Bruford. So some good drama schools for destinations of students there as well. Let me move on to the next slide. So this is talking a little bit about how you will work on the course and what learning goes on. So the UAL ethos is the emphasis is on the process as opposed to the end result. Yes, we give a performance and we record that, and you can evaluate that, but it's more about the learning journey, understanding the context of a performance and the research around it that it contributes to the development of the performance. About how you overcome difficulties and problems. We also run production meetings and just have discussions about costume and props and stage management, all those things, as well as developing the practical skills. So and finally, evaluation and ongoing reflection. Developing a reflective practice is really key to the course. So you will keep a running journal, a running log of all the work that you do, and that is effectively how you're assessed. You're assessed on that reflection, on your research, and on your contribution to session sessions. Now you'll notice at the bottom there are no sit-down exams, which is great because this is a vocational course, and as such, when you're assessed by your performances in the real world. So you do evaluate your performances. We give formative feedback throughout the year. The course is structured so that we do 2 projects a term, 2 in the autumn, 2 in the spring, and then the final term is the final showcase. Now, this showcase is very much student-led. You reflect upon your learning throughout the year, and you might pick a theme or a topic or a style that you wish to pursue, and you will work on something that will be presented at the showcase. Now, the showcase performance is externally moderated after the event. So that's I will mark it, or my colleague will mark your final showcase project, and then we get an external moderator in to mark our marking, and that's how you are assessed, only on your final project. So all the previous projects throughout the year, the 4 previous projects, are formative. So that's to help you improve in certain areas of your work, whether that is understanding of context or your research skills, or it might be your development of practical skills, or whatever it is. So you get plenty of formative feedback before you're finally assessed and given your grade. Now, at the level 3, if you get in the first year, you get a merit, the diploma, and then the second year you get a distinction. Your merit doesn't exist anymore, and you end the course with a distinction grade, which is the equivalent to about 2.5 grade A levels. So it's enough to get you into a good university if that is your chosen pathway. Next slide just shows the types. I apologize, it's not a terribly good screenshot there of the specification, which is available online. If you go onto the UAL awarding body website, you can have a look at the performing and production arts specification. This tells you the units that you will do. But as I say, the students don't really engage so much with the units, and UAL have told us that they don't really need to know what the units is. It's our job as staff to know what the units are, and ensuring that you as learners are meeting the learning criteria. So what we do in order to ensure that you are covering them is that there will be a slightly different focus in each of the projects that we do. So that might be the principles of performance is unit 1, engaging with an audience, introduction to professional practice, and critical and contextual awareness. So those first 4 units, we will focus on how you do your research. We will focus on the industry and presenting yourself through a CV, and understanding how to find work, and those kind of things will all be part of the project, as well as engaging with an audience when we do our rehearsals, and understanding audience features, the characteristics of audiences, whether you're performing for a mature audience or a family audience, and the principles of performance that's covered in things like acting methodologies and such like. So you are told what these units are, and they run underneath the projects that we do throughout the course of the year. On to the next slide. So there's just a list of the recent projects that we have put on back in October. What has been a rather difficult time for theatres has actually meant that we have benefited as a course. We have been able to use the main stage at the Salisbury Playhouse more often than previously. In previous years, because obviously there's been a lot of professional work going on in there, but there's more space in the performance calendar for us to deliver work in these remarkable venues. So in October, we did a speech fest, was our first project of the year, or a monologue, a series of monologues, which is a great project to start off the year, because we're thinking about going into the industry and preparing for auditions. And they were able to do that on the main stage at the Salisbury Playhouse. Our next project, these are the first 2, this next one is one that's coming up. We have worked with the Avonbourne Care Centre in Salisbury to deliver a verbatim project, which is where we have interviewed the residents of this care home and asked them about a theme, which in this instance was winter tales, and we've recorded those conversations, and we've taken the residents' words and we've turned it into a performance which we're putting on early in January, and we're going to hopefully live stream it to the care centre as great. So it's we like to get out in the community. We're using the connections that Wiltshire Creative has to give the students some really valuable, insightful, applied theatre learning, as well as the more traditional styles of performance that we're used to. And then there's a mixture of other things. We did a Christmas cabaret last year, this time of year. We've done a couple of classical plays in the past. She Stoops to Conquer is listed there. We've done A Midsummer Night's Dream and Medea by Euripides. We do an annual primary schools tour. Hopefully, all being well, we'll be able to do this again in the spring. We go out and the students devise, devise work based on a children's author, and then we take it into schools, and that's really a valuable learning journey for our students to go on a mini tour. We do contemporary plays as well. DNA and The Dumbwaiter are just a couple that we've done. We're going to be doing The Accordion Shop by Cush Jumbo in the spring, and the final year students also get to engage in multimedia performance as well. We do acting to camera projects and radio project. Our last radio project was actually put up for BBC uploads and was aired in episodes on BBC Radio Wiltshire back in October. So it's great to see that we get the students' work out there for the public to see as well. Now, fingers crossed. I mean, if you are at all interested in seeing any upcoming productions, do look on the Wiltshire Creative website. That's the Wiltshire Creative website, because they do advertise our upcoming projects on there, and if they're open to the public, you could come along and actually see some of the work that we do, and I think that's always really valuable for prospective students. So as I was saying, we are firmly embedded in Wiltshire Creative. The course runs 4 days a week, Monday, Tuesdays, Wednesdays and Thursdays. We do have some students who are carers at home and who have to work, so that gives them a little bit more time to be able to undertake those roles in their lives. But Mondays and Tuesdays are spent in one of the venues in town. At the moment, we are restricted, for obvious reasons, to the Salisbury Arts Centre. So we have our own dedicated space in the Salisbury Arts Centre, which is a lovely studio space. But we do have a couple of rooms at the Playhouse that we use as well. And sometimes we rehearse in the Solberg studio, which is the smaller theatre space at the Salisbury Playhouse. We also get plenty of workshops and talks from visiting professionals and Wiltshire Creative staff that contribute to the learning of the students as well. So it's not just me rabbiting on all the time. We do get in faces from the organisation, and whenever there is a production on, we ask the actors who were in it to come and talk to the students and share their learning journey, or perhaps run a workshop. And that really is great enrichment for the students' learning. And the next slide. What do you need to be? What do I need to be? What do you need to be as a student? We'd like you to be organised. Good attendance is crucial. This is a collaborative subject, and as such, it is really difficult to work when people are away. So we rely on teamwork and commitment, working well with others, being positive and enthusiastic, good time management, and willing to give it a go. There are many strange exercises that we do in the performing and production arts, and we work especially in the first few weeks on developing trust within the group. So it becomes normal to get to do this and to take risks and to challenge yourself. So we'd like to develop a safe environment within which you can achieve those goals. And I had a thought, and it's escaped me what I was going to say. So maybe it'll come back to me in due course. I'm going to move on to the next slide. What can you expect from us? And that's an important thing as well. We will always help you, no problem too big. There is a tutorial program. You have a tutor who's a member of Wiltshire College, and they're all being run online at the moment, but I think all my students are pretty good at turning up to them, and they look at the day-to-day tutorial program, but we are also on hand to help and to guide, and we have used Microsoft Teams, which has been invaluable in the current climate, and has meant that we've been able to keep teaching going throughout lockdowns and engage the students, and attendance has been remarkably good. And it's a very easy way of getting in touch and contacting if you are ill or absent for whatever reason. But you get training in how to use that software as well. We give feedback constantly, constructive feedback constantly. We also rely on student and peer feedback as well. As we're saying, throughout the formative units, you get feedback after each one and throughout the course of each project, which is part of the course of being in a rehearsal room and trying out stuff on the rehearsal room floor and getting feedback, taking it on board and working it, and just keep going with it. And we'd like to dish out lots and lots of praise. Now, what do students say? Now, I'm going to try something now, and I hope it works. I've got a little promotional video that you can find it if it doesn't work. It's only short, so if it goes blank for a few minutes, I'm actually playing a video, but I will return. I'm hoping this will work. So there's a little video which also can be found on the Wiltshire Creative Further Education page, Take Part page website, which just has a few short little interviews from current students. So I'm going to click over onto that, play it, and I'll be back in just a few minutes. Here we go.
You're very creatively free.
You're very creatively free. Enjoyable and quite motivating.
The best time ever.
The best time ever.
Our aims on this course are to provide students with a flavour of what a career in the performing or production arts It's very
could
practical.
be like.
I love the fact that every time we do different things to push our different abilities of acting.
We get a real good understanding
of what happens on stage and backstage, and the vast number of careers available to them. Being able to do it, to learn it.
The course is based in a producing regional theatre,
So we
which
have
is
like
quite
college days,
exceptional.
but
So
then
we have like college days, but
Playhouse
then
and
we
the Arts
have
Centre,
like days at the
making
Playhouse
use
and the
of
Arts
what we've
Centre,
got in
and
Salisbury.
making use of
theatres,
what we've got in Salisbury.
We go to directors, we
experiment a lot
meet
with
directors.
different
To experiment a lot with different practitioners, different styles. It's a very professional and organised course. Reach out and grab the
practical, and
This course is
rewarding.
fun, practical, and
I think it's been
I love this course.
amazing.
I think it's been amazing.
Okay, let me get us back to the presentation. Hopefully that played and it all made sense. If not, as I said, do visit the Wiltshire Creative page. There's more information about the course on there, and of course on the Wiltshire College and University Centre pages. Now it's over to you. If you have any questions, you can put them in the chat. If you have any further questions, what I will do now is I'll quickly put in my email address. So if you have any questions that will occur to you at a later date, you can email me as well. So I think that should have appeared in the chat. So if you have any questions, please enter them now. I will hang around for a couple of minutes as they appear or not. Hopefully I've been thorough in my talk with you this morning. Oh, someone's typing. That's encouraging. I will hang on then. The entry requirements for level 3 are 5 GCSEs, including maths and English. We could take you on if you perhaps miss out on one or either your maths or your English. If both, we would take you at level 2, so you could concentrate on getting those GCSEs and then step up to the level 3 after 1 year. Hopefully that answered your question. We do also do an interview as well, and at interview we can discuss those things. I think we're currently doing them via Teams. If you're interviewing for the performing arts as well, you'll be required to learn a short monologue to perform, so about a minute long. Anything else? No? Well, that's great. Thank you all for attending this morning. And as I say, this recording will be available from Wiltshire College in the future. So thank you very much, and I wish you a very happy Saturday. Farewell, everybody.